So that's me here, Igor Mikhalev. 3 years with the White Parthenon. You can think about White Parthenon as a bit of a strategy arm of EY. That's what we try to create at least. Coming from BCG, Boston Consulting, where I spent 5 years building a team around emerging technologies in financial services in particular. So CBDCs and so forth. CBDCs actually is what my main topic of interest is when it comes to digital assets, because I'm also the creator of CBDCtracker.org, which is the #1 source for tracking CBDCs around the world, completely open source. Now, what else I specialize in? Well, I'm driving a community around capitalism 2.0 with the University of Amsterdam, which is a more ethical, sustainable, and equitable future of our socio-economic system. So if you want to join, let me know. Please, next slide. Thank you. So today we're going to talk about the impact of emerging technologies on the future of finance. And for this talk, I've prepared a few of the key impactful technologies that we see right now from our work and our conversation with clients really make difference or about to make difference. Right? Of course, what goes on top there in terms of certainty and impact is AI and GenAI. Right? It allows us to create and rewire existing business models, create new ones, and it's agentic AI as well. We talked with a few clients in terms of how agentic AI can be a thing with regards to scaling their business now, and I'll show you in a minute how it can look like. Superseded by nothing, and blockchain goes second. So when it comes to blockchain and decentralized business models, we see many of our clients, your peers, looking at things like tokenized commercial bank deposits, crypto payments, new generation of merchants that accept crypto. So we're going to have a look at some of those use cases as well. The next is the open banking and APIs. So how does it allow us to create a multi-tiered experiences in ecosystems? So you can play a bit of a multitude of participant game when it comes to new value propositions. Then counteracting fraud, so new generation of biometrics and security solutions. Then RPA, so a bit of a business as usual needs to be done, especially when it comes to things like sanctions and AML. RPA really helps. And lastly, quantum. So a lot of promise, of course, big promise in quantum. See, very high, but is certainty there? Not really. You saw that yesterday Microsoft unveiled the new quantum processor though, so let's see how it goes. Yeah, anything missing, you think? Oh, I'm happy nothing is missing. Please, next slide. Right, so we start with Gen AI here a little bit, machine learning. Please, next slide. So, much is being said about generative AI. Everybody's like, let's do something. And of course, you did something already. But what can large language models do versus not yet, or maybe never? Well, let's for a moment ponder in the chart. So what was done recently is critical thinking and reasoning, context and common sense. It is said that the new model of OpenAI, so O1 and the new one O3, has an IQ at about 140, which is kind of a big deal, right? So a PhD level IQ, not bad. But what does it not have? Well, it doesn't really have ethical decision making, because who knows what's right. It doesn't really have individuality and personal opinions, because for that it needs to have more than just know all the texts of humanity. So you cannot be creating something original and completely new like that, arguably, because that's our prerogative as humans, hopefully. Yeah, originality, as I mentioned, emotional understanding, and yeah, things like privacy, legal advice are being worked on. I think this is going to be solved shortly. Any disagreements or agreements? Obviously, all the agreements. Let's go to the next one. Now, from our experience, what can AI bank of the future look like? And of course, you can double click, triple click, quadruple click in there. We're not going to do that. I only wanted to mention that it's all about personalized experiences. So how can we deliver hyper-personalized experience through your mobile, because now it's your gateway. Maybe in the future it's going to be your agent talking to a bank's agent. Let's see. But multimodal conversations, super context aware, so text, visual, voice, intelligent products and services done for you now. So this is the future of AI bank, basically. Right? And how do we deliver that? Well, we of course need to revamp our infrastructure. Again, if data is not good, then the output is not good, so your data model needs to be there, governance, master data management, all the boring stuff still needs to be done. But, things like ML ops and vector data stores for your RAG, retrieval augmented generation types of architectures, because that typically is what you want to have, that needs to be in place. Right? Many banks are looking at COE or control tower approach to AI. I think it's a good approach because first you start with a COE, then you scale it, and then you dissolve it. Think, who actually has a COE on AI? Yeah, that's right. Center of excellence. Right? Because first you start with that, but then you try to dissolve it because you don't want to have an uninvented here feeling with all the other business teams and departments, so you want to dissolve your COE at some point. Now, let's go to the next one. Well, it's hard to see, and that's on purpose. Why is that? Well, this is because this is a compilation of typical conversation with a banker when we talk about AI use cases. This is it. Many, many, many. But you see that it stretches from idea all the way towards scale. So what is it that's scalable now? Well, honestly, it's chatbots for clients. It's the ideation thingy, it's the front office sort of intermediator type of a bot. It's the voice conversations nowadays as well. Targeted marketing, transaction monitoring and reporting, right? So Gen AI and AI do quite a bit there now. But of course the multitude of use cases is all the way on the left hand side, which means that not many of them are truly scalable, and still the impact is questionable. That said, our advice is typically go for table stakes use cases, do them anyway, because they're no-brainer, needs to be done, why not? You don't want to lag behind. And select a few big bets, maybe 3, not more, properly big bets from the high impact use cases that differentiate you as a financial institution. So that typically is the winning strategy, simple but works. Let's go to the next one. I think they're talking about something. Martin, can you guys? Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And one more time. Thanks so much. So blockchain and DLT. Now, at some point in the very beginning, if we take a proper step back, we thought about Web3 and blockchain as a new layer, a value layer of the internet. Right? So now this internet so far is all about reading and writing and sharing and so forth. But how about us being able to have a value layer so we also exchange value without an intermediary on an open source, open collaboration basis without any effort. So open for all, decentralized, resilient, and nowadays of course also compliant. So we want to be compliant, and we want not every transaction and value of the transaction to be visible to all. So this is the definition of the new open layer, value layer of the internet. The next one, please. So just a few weeks ago, I worked on a project with Coinbase, where we developed a paper for the World Economic Forum on the future of the financial ecosystem. So that is a bit of a snapshot of how I think the convergence will be financial. Right? For a while, the banks we were talking about, I think the blueprint. Hey, TradFi versus DeFi, so we have our cozy Corda or enterprise Ethereum installation in there between a few banks, and this delivers some value. But hi, eventually what we grew to understand is that looks like convergence is happening. And ultimately, the internet, which is the decentralized, public, open, high-performing, secure, and compliant, so fourth version of financial ecosystem, is probably emerging, but rather sort of bottom-up from existing public blockchains. We'll see if that's true, but especially now with Trump in power, with Brian Armstrong, chief of Coinbase, being one of the crypto czar sort of helpers, it looks like maybe this is happening. But all in all, we think that open source, open collaboration, open network approach is going to be winning. And when it comes to digital assets, probably they will be done on the basis of public chains with a privacy layer on top, not on the basis of separate private installations, expensive ones, between the banks, because they typically bring no value. Next one, please. Now, also a nice discussion here is the CBDC traction. What is the traction in CBDCs? Well, one could say many discussions, but what is really there? Not much. If you look into the launched CBDCs, well, see that just 4, depends on classification, but our classification says 4 CBDCs have been launched, and in all emerging markets, right? So Nigeria, Jamaica, Bahamas, Zimbabwe. So all those countries have played with that, they've done something, and you can argue that they have launched successfully a CBDC. What does it mean for Europe? Well, it means that we don't really see a good reference point where retail or wholesale CBDC really was launched at scale. And the question is, will it be ever launched? Yeah, I don't know. We'll see about that. But the bottom line is that, as you saw from the previous slide, is that likely the bottom-up convergence collaboration on top of open source networks will be the basis for CBDCs. Thank you. Right. Now, 2 practical examples of blockchain and DLT for banking. Now, that is something that we're discussing almost on a daily basis. That is what your peers are implementing around the world. So, custody and treasury. Who discussed custody and treasury for crypto? Yeah, exactly. Wow. Well, I think the Z Bank has that, doesn't it? Yes, exactly. But you didn't try that. Exactly, yeah. So a few German banks, of course, are leading in there. American banks have it, Asian banks have it, Dutch banks are contemplating it, and maybe many of them will move sooner or later into this phase. Custody and treasury, quite mature. We have solutions off the shelf, can be done, nothing too special, of course. Security and compliance-wise, this is a bit of a deal. Wealth and fund management, native crypto on-off ramp, a little bit riskier, but still can be done. Payment and settlement, especially in Asia, very important. So you acquire a new class of merchants for crypto payments, and then you convert them to fiat for them, and you disperse back into your bank account for the merchant the actual fiat. So it's a nice play for new generation of clients, new generation of merchants, and we see that really happening. Yeah, well, you can see it for yourself. Stablecoin issuance, a big deal as well. So next to success of American stablecoins with current interest rates, many European banks are contemplating issuance of stablecoins. Sometimes it is consortium-based stablecoins, so working together to reduce the risk, make it more solid. Yeah. Anything missing here? Cool use case you want to add? Yeah, I can share it with you. Just ping me. But yeah, this is what's happening in real life. Open banking APIs. Now, not as disruptive as AI or crypto blockchain potentially, but still important. Open banking. Now, many misconceptions there around open banking, but let's look at it from this perspective as availability of APIs and data and integrations to build your future digital ecosystems. So you, as a bank there in the middle, you can collaborate with, let's take archetype A, with a variety of fintechs and lifestyle companies to create an offering in a lifestyle-centered ecosystem. That is what's possible with APIs, and that's what's possible with smart collaboration within the ecosystem. We call it the orchestrator play, digital ecosystem play. Same is possible for flavors B and C, and of course all the way others. It is all about how can I, as a bank, secure for myself an orchestrator position in a newly developed ecosystem by collaborating smartly with other players in the marketplace. To the next one, please. So yeah, this illustrates a very simple way of transition. So in the past, FS firms like a bank would just straight interact with consumers, but in the future, or let's say it is happening now, especially in Asia, embedded banking there is quite advanced. You see that the FS firms work with their consumers through non-FS brands or non-FS collaborations. So those ones here in the middle, can be the ones that you might like to pursue. And sometimes you want to be the orchestrator, you want to be the first one to push it. Sometimes you want to join the existing one. Depends on the situation. The next one, please. Biometrics and advanced authentication. That's maybe a little more boring, but only have one slide for that, so not to bore you too much. So this is all about the response to deepfakes. It's all about the response to issues that are happening now within the space of customer support and fraud. So, well, it's a never-ending arms race. So, fraudsters create new solutions for them. Now with Gen AI, actually, you have, like, as far as I know, you can go to a version of a ChatGPT aimed at fraudsters, and you can ask it to make you like a fake website or, like fake page, whatever, email thing, phishing, right? So everybody can now, same as everybody's now a developer in the Gen AI world, can become a fraudster. So we need to find out how we do that. Well, the answer is advanced biometrics. And you see that some of the things like digital identity and access management, the default way of working with that, is being reshaped, as well as facial recognition technology is quite ripe for adoption. Right, so adoption of face recognition is what you could do. Voice recognition and advanced biometrics, so the gait recognition, retinal scan, so those things are being more and more mature now. So yeah, if you want to reduce your costs handling fraud, that might be a good way to look into these emerging technologies. Next one, please. And the next one. The last one is RPA, more or less like business as usual. Again, table stakes. What is table stakes? Well, in credit card processing and in loan and mortgage processing, for example, right? So you want to work with, processing of your AML, processing of transaction monitoring, exceptions through increasingly automated ways. And you can also, if you think a little bit ahead, think about it as a convergence with Gen AI and convergence with AI agents. So yesterday you had RPA, tomorrow you have an agent. Sounds sexier and maybe works better. Cool. Now, last one, quantum. Huge potential in terms of disruption, but the question is in terms of when it is going to be there. Well, but if we ask experts, if you talk about experts looking at when RSA 2048 will be broken, so when you can brute force the hash of this RSA, well, they say this is going to happen at around 2031, 36. So they think that here, this is, on average, from their opinion, going to be achieved, which means that this is when quantum computer will be useful for sure. Right? That's from the average opinion of experts. Which means that we sort of should think about how do we harness that disruption if it comes our way. And there are two ways of harnessing it, or at least one way of harnessing and another way of defending ourselves. Right? Because if RSA will be broken, it means that you have to think in advance about what they call store now, decrypt later attacks. So you want to make sure that your encrypted data is not crackable when quantum computer will be introduced. So you need to think about it today to be able to defend yourself in the future. And especially companies that have hardware encryption modules, think about it now and implement solutions now. But yeah, some of the bigger banks also look at it now. If you go to the next one, the last slide I have for you is this one, because next to defending yourself from store now later attacks and post-quantum cryptography, you also have a certain number of upside opportunities. Now, in quantum, it's all about either speed, capacity, or accuracy. So in some situations like algorithmic trading or market making, you want to be able to make decisions faster on the basis of extended number of features, right? And this is what quantum computing gives you. Sometimes you want capacity, so you want more data, more features to be included in the calculation of the prediction. Yeah, and for that you can, for example, think about asset pricing, right? You want to price based on a large multitude of parameters. Or it's about accuracy, so you want to be so accurate when it comes to fraud detection. So your fraud detection team is not tens of people. Or you also want to be so accurate about forecasting. And this is also achieved by means of quantum computing, quantum algorithms. Right? So what can you do now? You can develop a quantum algorithm and test it. It will be slower than your traditional mainframe or even laptop, but it would allow you to actually understand and prepare for how do you actually program a quantum algorithm to achieve that advantage once it's real. With that, this is my last slide. Maybe the next slide? Yes. Thank you all. Good to see all the familiar faces and enjoy the conference.